It's time for the RV Show USA with Alan Warren, the RV guy, and America's only radio show about the RV lifestyle. If you enjoy travel, fun, and adventure, well, welcome aboard, everybody.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
Officially over the hump of summer, I think, and while it is still mighty warm in some places, I could tell, at least here in Texas, just the other day, that fall weather is right around the corner. We had a rainstorm up at Big Chief RV Resort. I'm telling you, it rained like 9 inches in 6 hours. The roads washed out. We needed rain. We didn't need 9 inches all at the same time, but there was that feeling that fall is in the air. So if we can just make it another month, things are going to be really good down here. So howdy again, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, the RV guy, and however you're listening to us, welcome. The RV Show USA continues to grow and expand its reach from folks that, some of them just stumble across great radio stations, to y'all that are already into RVing and already love the RV lifestyle. So we thank each one of you. We got a great 2 hours ahead of us today, and here's sort of a little rundown, all right? In hour 2, we have our buddy Tim Wasberg from MRV The Buzz to start us off. Now, we have missed Tim for the past couple of weeks, but he is in the dugout and ready to go, as they say. Then we'll have another fabulous destination of the week, and this is a Jellystone Park we're going to tell you about. That is in hour 2. Now, in less than 30 minutes, we've got a lady that's going to be on the show, and she has been an RVer for, get this, she's been RVing for more than 50 years. She is known by her fans as Time Traveler 2, and she is some kind of sharp, has so much experience, not just as an RVer, but she's also a great writer. I know you're going to enjoy meeting her, and that's going to be at the bottom of this hour. But, to start us off, the subject is education. Now, don't go, oh, man, education. Well, if you own an RV for very long, you are going to get an education, I guarantee you. And for too many folks, that education they get can be quite costly, but it does not have to be. You know, when everything's going perfectly in your RV, you know that it is only a matter of time when you're going to discover some kind of a leak, some kind of a situation that needs attention. It could be something in plumbing or electrical related, heating, air. Something's going to need repairs. The good news is that I'm hearing that like 80% of all RV repairs you can do on your own. But how do you do it? I mean, how do you learn all the workings in an RV? And that's where our first guest comes in. His name is Terry Cooper. He is known as the Texas RV Professor. And before we bring him up, no matter what your level of RVing experience, from longtime RVer to somebody that's just getting ready to buy their first RV, this man is the go-to guy from RV dealers who want to send their technicians for training to true newbie RVers who need to know the basics of how their RV operates. So how is Terry Cooper doing today?
Alan, Terry Cooper is doing great. Things are wonderful. I'm up here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now.
I hear that you are just kind of wrapping up another one of your great classes. We're going to talk about your courses here in just a bit, but for our listeners that don't know about the Texas RV Professor, tell everybody what you do, Cooper, and give us a little bit of background.
Well, actually, I am married to a beautiful young lady, and we travel 12 months out of the year, and we basically do nothing but technical training for dealerships, consumers. We do rallies and things like that. So it's a labor of love is the best way to describe it.
How do most RVers get their education, Cooper? I think I know, and it's not very pleasant.
I hate to admit, most people jump into this experience, and when they get into it, it's like, oh, my gosh, what have I done? And if they'd have just taken a little bit of time and learned some things and kind of learned just, a few basics, it would sure make life a whole lot easier. But you're right. They're learning by the seat of their pants is probably about the best way to describe it.
And so you have developed over many, many years, you have developed a system, an education system for RVers that starts out from the very basics all the way up through the skilled technician that works at RV dealers back in the back of the shop. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay. Well, what we have found, and like I say, Lady E and I have been doing this a little over 6 years now. I've been traveling. And what we find is we'll roll into, say, like a dealership, if that happens to be our customer, and I'll spend time with them. I'm finding that most people here in the United States and Canada are typically hands-on learners. So anytime that we can put somebody in the environment with the hands-on experience, they just seem to learn and retain the material so much better. And so that's really the whole format, is find out where they are. So a lot of times with the dealer technicians, we'll test them, kind of get an idea of what their knowledge level is, and build on that. With consumers, you know, this is what I tell a lot of people, is that, folks, you have all these islands of knowledge, you know, life experiences and things that you've had. And so what we try to do is to help them tie some of those islands of knowledge together so they can have those aha moments. And so that's really the basics. It's just get in there and figure out where they are and give them the basics to where they can get going into this lifestyle.
Now, how does it work? I know that the company or your website is called the Mobile RV Academy. How does it all work? If I'm in Georgia or Connecticut or here in Texas or wherever, how can I go to the Mobile RV Academy?
Well, we have it going a couple of different ways. We run a circuit, for lack of a better term, where we'll travel across the country, and I will admit we like to travel where it's a little warmer. So when things are cold up north, we like to be down south, Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, places like that. And then, of course, when the summer hits, we like to travel in the northern areas. And so what we will do is we'll have designated campgrounds and RV parks that we'll go to, and we'll actually have the pavilion or the clubhouse reserved, and we'll have students come in, and so they'll come with their RVs. And what we'll do is we'll have these 5-day hands-on classes. And so when they come, they're going to use their RV as a lab. Now, if we have somebody who comes to us that's maybe just looking to buy, or what we call a dreamers looking to get into the experience, what we will do is we'll partner them up with somebody who has an RV.
Who do you see, Cooper? Who do you see coming to your classes? Are they men? Are they women? Do you have them from all over the spectrum, beginners and advanced RVers? Or, I mean, who's primarily your student?
Alan, there is no way that you can predict who's going to walk through that door. I've had people that were PhDs. I've had medical doctors. I've had funeral directors.
Wow.
It's amazing. You just look and think, wow. But they all have the same thing. They want to learn. No one wants to be stupid. No one wants to be out here feeling like they're at somebody else's mercy. But I'll tell you the one group that has really surprised me how large it has gotten. It's the solo women.
Really?
And, yeah, it is amazing. And there's some gutsy ladies out there. And I'll tell you, you know, some of these ladies just come to us and say, I don't know anything about anything. I wasn't born with a screwdriver in my hand. But our goal is at the end of that 5 days, they can take care of themselves. And it's amazing the letters we get back from them. How they said, you know, not only can I take care of myself, but I belong to this club, and I'm showing them things that they didn't even know. And when you start to hear that, you realize that, hey, you've hit a sensitive nerve with these people, and they're taking care of themselves, and their confidence is up, and that's the big thing. It really is.
Well, you are educating so many people. In fact, you know, I got to do a shout out to my friend Al Pierce over in Georgia, who is on our Facebook page. And I met Al several months ago. I had him on the show. I said, Al, how do you know so much about RVs and the workings of them? And he mentioned about the Mobile RV Academy, and that's of course you know how you and I met up. But I did not know that you have been training for years and years and helping educate people all over the country. I just think what you do is it's an awesome service for people, and more people need to know about it.
You know, people say you find what you love and go do it, and I'll have to say that's really what's happened here. It has been a true labor of love. It really has. There are days that you think, what in the world ever possessed me to do this? But all in all, I will say it is so encouraging when somebody comes back and they meet you, let's say 6 months or a year later, and they say, Cooper, you have no idea how much it made a difference in our lives. And so when you start to hear those things and those little pats on the back, you know, for an instructor, that's the greatest reward you can have. It really is.
Well, I imagine it is. And when you're known all over the country, you walk into an RV consumer show and the dealers see it's like, hey, Cooper, get over here. And you're like a Elvis Presley walking around those shows. Hey, Cooper, we got to take a break. Can you stay with us for another segment?
Absolutely. No problem.
All right, good deal. All right, folks, we have got the Texas RV professor, Terry Cooper, on the line with us. How would you like to win one of the Mobile RV Academy's awesome RV home study courses? We're giving one away to someone on our email list. How do you get on the email list? It is simple. Go to our website, hit subscribe to our free newsletter. You can connect with us on Facebook. The website is thervshowusa.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, welcome back. Alan Warren, the RV guy. Hope you're enjoying today's visit with the nation's foremost authority on RV education. He has been known by many as the Texas RV professor, but today he travels nationwide and he takes education and training he takes it to everybody, from brand new RVers to master RV technicians. So, Mr. RV professor, I would imagine that you get a great deal of satisfaction from helping these people feel more confident about their RV, and when something goes wrong, they know what to do.
You know, Al, that is true. You know, because really, my whole mantra is 80% of the things that go wrong with these RVs, we can take care of ourselves because they're easy to access and they're easy to fix. But we just need somebody to show us how. And I guess that's really the whole key is if somebody knows how, they can take care of themselves. So not at the mercy of somebody else stranded on the side of the highway or waiting for somebody to come get them. So, yeah, absolutely.
Give me an example of something, that I was going to ask you about that 80-20 thing because I hear you talk about it. I read it on your website and a lot of the blog stuff, 80-20. Give me an example of something that I may something may happen to my RV, and instead of taking it to a dealer and paying a lot of money to have it repaired, that I could do it myself. What would that be?
You would be surprised how many times that people will call and have a service tech or have to take the thing into the shop, and all it was is they just needed to reset the circuit breaker. I have made service calls and charged the folks a fee to get there, a 1 hour minimum, and all I did was go in and turn off the circuit breaker and turn on the circuit breaker. But they were these folks were in such disarray, and they are having what they call the purple monkey. And that's just a little thing that I always talk about. It's that little inner voice, that little thing that's chirping in our ear saying, oh, this is bad. This is going to be expensive. What are we going to do? And then about that time, our partner's chirping in our other ear, hey, what are we going to do? You talked me into this thing. But what I tell everybody, if you'll just step back and ask the one question, what has changed since the last time this thing worked like it was supposed to? And it's amazing. If we'll just be calm about it, it'll be so obvious. But so many times,
how did you become such the Texas RV professor? Give us a little bit of background on you, Cooper.
Oh Lord, I took what I thought was going to be a part-time gig, teaching classes at Texas State Technical College in Waco. I mean, it was just going to be maybe a year, 18 months. Well, it turned out to be a lot more than that. And one day I was sitting in a meeting and the president of the college says, hey, does anybody know anything about RVs? And I just kind of sit quietly because I thought, you know what, I've been in the business and I don't know that I want to continue to do this. Because I'd started out working on the production line with a manufacturer and, all these different things that we do in our life. And so here I am at the college and I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my career. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I raised my hand, and the man said, hey, we've got the Texas RV Association has come to us not once but 3 times, and they're wanting someone to put together a training program for their technicians. Come see me. Well, when the president of the college says, come see him, you better show up.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had the only training school west of the Mississippi River. And so
wow.
It was quite a deal, and we were able to take care of a lot of the dealerships. Well, that opened the door for us to do a lot of RV shows, and that's really how we got started with the consumers, was with the RV shows. And then your friend and mine, Diane LeBlanc, opened the door for me. She used to have us come down on Saturday mornings, and we'd do RV presentations, technical things, talking about electricity and propane.
Yep.
So to my dying days, I'll have to say thank you, Diana Block, because you made it possible for us, because you opened the door for me. So thank you, ma'am.
She's an amazing lady. So we go from Mobile RV Academy. You are going to be not so mobile with something that I think is very, very cool. Tell us about the little red schoolhouse, or the big red schoolhouse that you're building.
Well, since we've been on the road these last 6 years, we've begun to see a trend. We would go into campgrounds and parks, and we would bring in our group, and we might have 20 or 25 rigs that were going to be there for the class, and we'd run into problems where we couldn't find a meeting room big enough to accommodate the classroom. So this kept going on, and we would call back the next year, and they would cancel because, we were too big of a group, or we were conflicting with some of their activities.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just decided that we needed to find a place of our own. And so in July, we purchased the Texan RV Park. Now, I found that very fitting, because when I pulled up in the driveway and I saw the Texan RV Park, I thought, you know what, this could be the home of the Texas RV professor. And people that know me know when I say the hair on the back of my neck stood up, well, that's what happened. Because that's when I knew that was divine appointment. Hey, we were supposed to be here. Long, short, we bought the thing, and now we have it. And this thing is huge. It's got 75 sites, 6 cabins, but it's got a tremendous amount of land. And what we're going to do is build a 12,000-square-foot training facility there at the front of the property that faces Highway 175. And they will begin to start breaking ground next month, as a matter of fact. So we can start having classes starting in January.
See, and the location, you said it was like a divine connection. I truly believe it. I was out there, and I saw it. It is not just a beautiful facility, but if you had to pinpoint a spot on the map of the state of Texas where there are so many people that RV and travel through, you couldn't have picked a better location to put your academy, if you will, the 12,000-square-foot education center, than what you have.
True. It's the standing joke now is all roads lead to Athens, because it's a little community called Athens, Texas.
Yep. All right, so you know what I'm thinking is, because we're going to be out of time here in about 2 minutes, but in the next few weeks, I would like to get you back on and talk about one specific thing each week. Let's talk about the very basic, and maybe the home study course, and focus on that. And then maybe another week we can talk about the RV inspectors course. We've got a lot of people online that have taken your classes. Nick is in our live studio. He said that he took a class with you out in you taught out in Colorado, and he loved it. Tom's on the line. Al Pierce is on the line. So you got a lot of fans out there.
We have met some of the neatest people in this lifestyle, and that's one thing I'll have to say. It's a good lifestyle, because you do meet some great friends. You really do.
I was going to ask you, if you were an RVer your entire life, as a child, did you camp an RV with your family, or is it something you picked up as an adult?
There were 5 kids in our family, so for us to have an RV was pretty tough. But my parents always took us camping, and so here we were sleeping in those military cots, those surplus military cots.
Oh.
So that was my first experience with it. So, Al, if I thought my life was going to be like that, I don't know if I'd have got into the experience. But I will say that the lady that I'm married to really opened the door for me. She helped me to realize that, hey, there's a whole lot more than just sleeping on those old stinky military cots.
Yeah, I saw where you and Lady E live, and you live in about as nice of an RV as I think I've ever seen. So you went from a cot to a palace, that's for sure. Hey, listen, we're about out of time, but can we catch up with you soon? We're going to go ahead and put a link on our website, keep it there, to the Mobile RV Academy, Mr. Cooper.
Well, Al, it's good to talk to you guys, and hey, I'm sure we'll pass each other on the highway, and honk when you go by, okay?
You got it. We will see you soon in Austin at the TRVA. Looking forward to it.
Outstanding, and hopefully we'll catch up with Diana LeBlanc.
I'm sure she'll be there, too. All right, Mr. Cooper, we'll talk to you again. Folks, that is Terry Cooper, the Texas RV professor. You can link to him at thervshowusa.com. You need to check it out, I promise you. Be right back.
The
All right, welcome back, everybody. Alan Warren, the RV guy. I'm excited to visit with our next guest today. This lady knows something about RVing for sure. I learned about her by reading some of her great blogs about RVing. So let's go ahead and bring up my new friend right now, Sondra Rochelle. Hey, Sondra, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being with us. I know you are known by so many people in the RVing world as Time Traveler 2, and we're going to talk about that. But first off, who is Time Traveler 1? I got to ask.
Well, Time Traveler 1 is my husband, and the reason that I picked that pen name to write with is that I'm old, I've traveled a lot, he's number 1, and I'm number 2.
There you go. You hear that, Lisa? You see, she's number 2. It's the other way around in my family, so I'm number 2. So anyway, all right, for our listeners who may not recognize Time Traveler 2 and some of your background, tell us a little bit about you, Sondra, and in terms of RVing, and then tell us about your blog.
Well, I've been RVing for more than 50 years. I've traveled in just about every type of unit you can think of. I've been all over the United States countless times. I have work camped. I have volunteered, basically done the whole thing. Just about anything that, good or bad, that you need to know about it, I can pretty much tell you because I've had just every type of experience that there is. And I love it. I'm 74 years old, and I'm still doing it.
Wow. Are you a full-time RVer? Are you part-time?
I have been. I have been a full-timer. I no longer am. But, yes, I've done that, too.
Well, I've read so many of your blogs, and they're very well written. So I got to ask you, what's your background besides being an RV enthusiast?
Well, I'm a retired teacher. I have a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and a master's degree in Spanish. I also have a degree in English, and I've taught all over the United States, language arts, grades 6 through 12.
Wow, I knew you had to be some kind of a teacher because you write you really do. You write so well. Now, so have you ever figured out how many RVs you've had over the last 50 plus years? And what kinds?
Gosh, I never have. A lot. We've had, I know, at least 6 motorhomes. I don't know how many trailers. I've had pop-up, slide-ins. We've traveled in slide-ins. I actually started the very first time in a tent. That didn't go well. I decided after that wasn't going to happen again. So we went to pop-up, otherwise known as a fold-out trailer.
Yeah.
And like everybody, you generally start low, and you just, you start with the tent and say, well, I don't like laying on the ground. I don't like the bugs. So you move up to, a slide-in camper or a pop-up.
Right.
And then you start thinking, boy, it'd be nice to have a little more room. And before you know it, you're in a 38-foot diesel pusher.
so was there a point where you scaled back down, though? I mean, at 74 years young, did you scale back down, or you still got a big one?
Well, some people would look at ours and say it's a big one. We have a 34.5-foot Holiday Rambler vacationer gas model. To us, that's smaller. About as older people, and I would advise this to anybody who's older, you want more comforts. You want your air conditioning and your private bathroom and all that. And we find a 34.5-footer is pretty good size for maneuvering. We tow a car with us. So that's our downsize.
Well, so what is your favorite kind of RV? I bet you I know what your favorite kind is. It's ones that's paid for.
Well, all of ours are paid for. We always pay cash for everything we buy, which I know is hard for some people to do, but I think where people get in trouble is when they pay too much and then something happens and they have to get out of it and they're upside down on their loans, and it becomes a real problem for them. It's always best to buy what you can afford.
Well,
Buy what you can afford, whether it's, and if you have to make payments, keep them as low as possible. But I agree, one that's paid for, because then you don't have any worries about money. You're on the road, you're enjoying yourself, you're not worrying about, your monthly payments and so forth. But my favorite motorhome of all time was one we had, quite a while ago. It was a 38-foot 1996 Safari Serengeti. Beautiful coach. We loved it. We traveled almost full-time in it, 4 or 5 months out of every year. And we're very happy with it. But my husband got sick, and we had to sell it, and so we wound up, with other things. But that was probably our favorite motorhome of all time.
I was reading some of your excellent writings, and one of them was about don't overextend yourself when you're buying an RV. And I could tell that I just got the sense that you're very conservative, and you try to go, tell people to be real cautious and don't go into debt too much. It's easy to do, but to try to err on the side of being conservative.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You can really see, people don't realize, especially the ones that they've come out with now, with all the slide rooms and all the, the granite countertops and all that. They're very, very expensive, and they look like...
Hey, Sandra, hang on. We got to take a break. We're hitting a hard break. Be back. We'll pick it up right after this. Y'all stick around.
Okay.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
And we're back, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, the RV guy. On our guest line is a lady that has been RVing for more than 50 years. She's 74 years young. She goes by the name Time Traveler 2, Sondra Rochelle. I don't even know where you are, Sandra. I know where your area code is, but where do you live? Or do you live wherever you want?
Well, we live in Largo, Florida, which is on the west coast of Florida.
Okay, I knew that area code, though, was not Florida. At least I didn't think it was.
Yeah, no, it is.
Is it?
It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so you've been writing for quite some time. Tell us about how you got into the writing. I guess you did it you still do it as a labor of love. And talk to us about how technology has changed and opened doors for so many people like you.
Well, I've always been a writer. I have written several books over the years on different subjects. Years ago, when I was married to another gentleman, I decided we retired early, and I decided to write a book about RVing. And I was going to write as we went. This is before anybody else had ever written a book like this. But unfortunately, very shortly into our RVing experience, at a very young age, he died. And I was left living in the RV, and I just continued writing. And eventually that became a book, which is sitting right now as a Kindle book on Amazon, about all of my experiences going through being a widow. Mm-hmm. But it was the RV that saved me, because I lived in it after he passed away, and I was forced to learn how to hook it up, drive it, take care of it, and so forth and so on. And I've been writing ever since. About 5.5 years ago, I discovered a site called hubpages.com, and I've been writing there ever since.
Well, in fact, that's how I found you. And if you type in Time Traveler 2, like it's all one word, you'll be able to find, over 100 different blogs that you have written through the years.
Right. Right now I have 119 articles online about all the different aspects of RVing: buying one, owning one, caring for one, traveling in one, problems that you can have, good times that you can have, things that you see. It's a very broad area, so I never run out of things to write about, safety issues and so forth. A lot of things for beginners. There's a lot more to it than people realize, and I really do think that people should take the time to learn about it before they get into it, because you can make some really bad mistakes if you do it wrong.
But the resources are out there if they will just take the time. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of articles and videos and excellent resource material that was not available 10 years ago, because it's available now because of technology. Exactly.
Nice thing about this is it's free. You can go on. You can go on my site. It costs nothing to go on there and read. You can go onto my profile page, which Time Traveler 2 will take you to. I believe you're putting the information on your website for people.
Right.
It's hubpages.com /@ Time Traveler 2. If you go to that page, it has all of my articles listed, and you can pick and choose and read at your leisure. And there's just, it will really help you. I talk to you in those articles the same way I'm talking to you now.
All right. So how have you seen, in your, with your perspective of 50-plus years in RVing, how have you seen the typical RVer change? What big changes have you seen, and are you happy with what you're seeing, or not so much?
Well, it has changed a great deal. I think it's very quickly becoming a rich man's thing to do for the most part. You used to be able to go out for, I went out one time and bought a little slide-in camper for $3,500 and had 2 really great summer vacations in it before we traded it off for something else. It was a clean, nice, it was cheap. Mm-hmm. Friends of mine just bought a slide-in camper. They wanted to go to Alaska. They spent $36,000 for it, plus the cost of the truck. That's almost $100,000.
Wow.
Everything has gotten more expensive, but it's because it's what people want. They want slide-out rooms. They want the big fancy RVs. They want to feel like they're at home, and that's well and good, but the campgrounds have to become bigger and offer more amenities in order to be able to handle the electric loads. Whereas you used to go for 30 amps, now some parks have 100 amp and up.
Yeah, and the cost to build those parks is going up and up, so the cost of RVing is not going down. So, that is one big change. What kind of suggestions do you have, Sondra, for new RVers to kind of guide them, if you will, towards making the right decision? Do you prefer new? Do you suggest used RVs for your first RV? And, it doesn't matter to me which answer. I'm just curious as to what you think after 50 years of being around it.
Well, I said it earlier. You start small. You don't start in a big RV, a big fifth wheel or a big motorhome. That's not a good way to start because, first of all, most people don't know how to drive them. They're very intimidating. You start with something small. In fact, you should start renting. Start with renting one, see if you even like it. It isn't for everybody. What people don't realize is, for example, let's say you live in a house that's 3,500 square feet or 3,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. And you go into an RV and you think, we're going to go for a month and it's going to be great and this, that, and the other. You're dropping down to around 400 square feet. That's a huge difference. It's okay for a weekend, but if you're talking about going for a month, you better like each other.
You know what?
Really,
we had a lady on the other day on another show, and she said that you love your spouse, but do you like them? Because if you don't like them, RVing can be pretty stressful.
I have seen many people give it up for that reason. You have to. It's not just liking your spouse. You have to like that lifestyle. If you both like it, it's fantastic. I've been lucky that way. My husband and I, we get along very well. We know how to split the chores up. He does certain things, I do certain things. But you you have to be able to live in a smaller area. You have to be willing to do with less things. And you have, even driving, if you look at a map, and you live in Florida and you want to go to California, it doesn't look that far. But it's 3,000 miles of driving.
Heck
and
yeah.
not all of it is pleasant. It can be very stressful.
Hey, listen, Sandra, we're out of time. We're going to put up a link from our site over to you so people can find you, but I appreciate so much having you on the show. I'd like to catch up with you again soon, okay?
Okay. There's information about all this stuff on my site, so...
Good deal. Thank you
free.
for being with us. All right, folks, if you can connect with Sondra, Time Traveler 2, on our site, thervshowusa.com.
The RV Show USA.
All right, we're having so much fun here in the studio. I want to thank each one of y'all for being with us as we record the show live every week. We see so many regulars that make it a date, and they rarely miss a program. I'm talking about you, Nathan. That's right. All right, some folks say that the best part of the show happens during our commercial breaks when we let the camera roll, as they say. We have an opportunity to visit with our studio audience. If you would like to join us and be a part of our studio audience, you can certainly do so. It's easy. If you subscribe to our free newsletter, you'll receive an email invitation every week. In that invitation, there's a link. You can click on it, grab yourself a seat in the studio, and join us and lots of other RV enthusiasts. Now, for y'all who are listening on the radio, in particular, new RVers and those thinking about becoming RVers, our studio audience is a really great place to meet smart folks who will help answer your questions and guide you to the right RV people, to the right RV that is right for you. And I will tell you that in spite of the hundreds and hundreds of models and floor plans and options today, they are still trying to figure out how to make the perfect RV for everybody. They really are. Fact is, every RV, every single one of them, no matter how close to perfect they may seem at first, eventually, every one of them, you're going to go, you know what? I wish they didn't have that over there. I wish, we don't use that as much as we thought we were going to. So you're going to find something that you wish was different. That's why we recommend that, especially for first-time RV buyers, take your time. Work with somebody that will be patient with you and not try to sell you the deal of the month, if you know what I'm talking about. The folks that you hear us talking about here on the show, I can't say enough good things about them. They have all been in the business, the RV business, for a very long time. And the reason, they do their best day in and day out to take care of their customers like they take care of a trusted friend. So when you're on our website, you can connect with our awesome sponsors and RV dealers, and you'll feel confident that you'll get what we call the VIP experience. Before we hit the break at the top of the hour, we need to remind you that we give away a prize every week to one of our subscribers to the RV Show USA newsletter. Goose, why don't you tell everybody how it works?
Well, it is very easy to do. You go to thervshowusa.com. That's thervshowusa.com. You fill out the needed information. Basically, it's just name and email address in most cases, and some little questions about you, and hit the subscribe button, and you will be subscribed to our email newsletter. Comes out every Monday with some great parts about the show from the previous weekend, and that's where we announce our winners. You heard Cooper, the Texas RV professor. One of our monthly super prizes is you get to pick between his courses or a fire disc cooker, your choice. The only way you'll know if you win is to open that email and look for your name. And that's at thervshowusa.com.
That's right. All right, next hour we've got Tim Wasberg from MRV The Buzz. He's going to take us all the way up to Quebec, Canada. Yeah, and a whole lot more. Y'all stick around. You got the band ready?
I do.
Wake them up, man.
The